Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is going to be my review for new comics that were released on August 25th, 2021, Part 3. First up, we got Harley Quinn number 6 from DC Comics. I went with the Suicide Squad variant. First thing I can say is there is an artist change. I don't know if this is permanent, but I was kind of disappointed because I had gotten used to that artist and I enjoyed it. Not to say that this new artist is not bad. It is very good art. It's just I was kind of really liking the comic. It went with what was going on. So we're following Harley Quinn, and she is in Alleytown. She has crossed over into Catwoman's territory. She is being followed by some magistrate thugs who are also in Alleytown. Alleytown is on lockdown. Catwoman quickly comes to Harley Quinn's rescue, and at the same time, after she defeats all the magistrate people, she quickly incapacitates Harley Quinn and starts questioning on why she is in Alleytown. Harley Quinn basically explains that she is in Alleytown tracking a drug dealer who is supplying Hugo Strange with serum that he has been injecting different clowns from Gotham. They do show some of that Hugo Strange and has been secretly in chat with Scarecrow, shown here in Scarecrow's secret lair. Basically there is a conversation between Scarecrow and Crane about the shipment of supply that he's supposed to deliver, and Scarecrow also kind of questions questions Hugo Strange about his dealings with Harley Quinn, how she broke into his facility and made him look like a fool. At the same time, in the background, they show that Keepsake has broken into Scarecrow's secret lair or whatever, and they show him like kind of coming out of the wood right there. I don't know how he found him, but okay. But Keepsake had been working with Hugo Strange and Simon Saint, and Scarecrow is not for it. He doesn't like Keepsake and tells him if he comes back he'll kill him. Keepsake kind of limps away, and also at the same time Scarecrow gets mad at Hugo Strange for hiring such a low-level villain. Basically the rest of the comic, Harley and Catwoman, they investigate this one pusher, and they do finally track down where the drugs are being held, this and that. There is like a whole bunch of action and stuff. There is one moment where somebody does throw some of these said drugs at Catwoman, and Harley takes the blunt of the she actually takes it to the face. Catwoman does eventually save Harley. She takes her back to, I want to say she takes her back to Gotham. She leaves her away from Alleytown because she doesn't want a Harley there. It's not to say that she doesn't like Harley, but she's more worried about present situation, things that are going on in Alleytown. So she does drop off Harley. She tells her that she was able to pump her full of antidotes, and luckily it was something that had to do with her years of dealing with the Joker is why she didn't end up dying or something like that. They do show that there's this scene with Harley as Catwoman is leaving, and she kind of tells the plant, because the plant and Poison Ivy can hear through all plant life, but she tells Poison Ivy not to worry, that her eyes are still, for her lady and with the red hair. Next up, we got Detective Comics number 1042. We are still going on with the Worth and Vile situation that has been going on. Batman has just been infected with the Vile virus or infection or whatever, but he is basically being puppeteered by Vile, as they show here. Vile is also being held at the same facility with Penguin and Worth teaming up. They have captured Vile and are planning to do this whole puppeteer thing where they infect people and then get them to do whatever they want to do. Vile at the same time says F that and unleashes this, his diabolical plan to escape and uses Batman to do so. Quickly all hell turns loose. Penguin sets his thugs and tries to, but quickly the infection spreads before he can even do so. So most of everybody gets taken out and turned quickly. Worth kind of turns on Penguin, and Penguin, being a better villain than being Worth, because Worth is kind of like a new villain and Penguin's been around for a while. He quickly gets the slip on Worth. We see Batman under Vile's, infliction, and he quickly goes after Worth, and Worth, kind of tosses around Batman like saying, you can't infect me, this and that. Of course, the Dark Knight, he's in pursuit, and it's gotten to the point where Worth can't really dodge Batman anymore. Eventually, the Dark Knight does overpower Worth, and it has led to the like a rooftop situation like they show on the cover. It gets to the point because Vile is in Batman's head and he's telling him what to do, and at the same time Batman wants this to happen, but then it gets to the point where Vile starts telling Batman to kill Mr. Worth, and Batman is not for that. He does drop him, but at the last moment he kind of grapples, uses a grapple gun to catch Mr. Worth from falling to his death. At the same time, Huntress has been granted this new power where she's connected to everybody that Vile is infected. So she's been, trying to catch up to Batman to help him, because now all of a sudden she can see Vile. Batman back on the rooftop, he handcuffs himself and then goes back into the situation under the control of Vile. Now that Vile has seen that the Huntress is there, he unleashes Batman to go after the Huntress, but Batman was kind of a little smarter. That's why he handcuffed himself, so he wouldn't actually physically kill the Huntress. But at the same time, Batman kind of comes up with this thing where they show right here, and he uses the fall to knock the supposed infection out of Vile, and at the same moment Huntress shoots it dead. It instantly shows Vile, the person who was Vile without the infection, instantly like shrivel up and die, and it says that 6 hours later in the hospital he did die. It goes into, now they can finally lay Mr. Worth's daughter Sarah to rest after this has all been figured out. They jump to Vile's corpse and the autopsy with his corpse, and they have found that there was eggs growing inside of him, and they're like perpetually growing, and they do show that some release, so it's probably not the last we'll see of Vile. Side story we get with is Task Force Z, and this is following reporter Debbie. I think her last name is Donovan, and she is catching up with Red Hood. And the first kind of inclination of this, Red Hood had slipped her a secret message, talking about this whole conspiracy that was going on about these villains and heroes that have been disappearing, specifically their dead bodies disappearing. It goes into this whole back and forth conversation between Red Hood and Debbie, basically why they should tag team up, and and she kind of doesn't really know who Red Hood is and that kind of thing. But they eventually do tag team up, and they start on this. Debbie starts on this, basic mission on trying to find out and track down who's behind this and what happened to these said villains. And because Man-Bat is one of them, Arkham Knight is another. They eventually do track down, like a location, and Debbie and Red Hood are there. Red Hood is kind of in the background, and he doesn't really trust Debbie to do certain things, and come to find out he had the right premonition to not trust her. But they do basically find out that people are currying dead bodies, and Red Hood kind of interjects. At the last second, we see that Debbie kind of has like a kind of a second guessing about their team up, because the Red Hood is extremely violent, and she was kind of looking more for the Batman type of superhero to do this. and Debbie is not liking the she thinks it looks more like he's going to murder all these guys that are involved with these, morgue stealing type thing. She goes to call the cops, and the last we see is she gets knocked out. So we'll have to see what's up with the Task Force Z. I will say that Task Force Z is going to be an ongoing series that they've hinted at coming soon. For anybody that's interested, and it looks real interesting actually. Next up, we got Marvel. We got Alien #6, covered by In-Huk Lee. Man, what a good issue! Alien has not failed. We are catching up with the very last of this story arc. And basically, Gabriel, the Bishop android, and Gabriel's son have all been incapacitated in one form or fashion. Gabriel being shot in the shoulder, Bishop being kind of shot all over, and the son carrying a current alien alpha species that the Weyland Corporation wants. We find out that there was a double dealing, side agent that was with Gabriel's son, Danny, and it was this girl right here, and she has double crossed everybody, including, Gabriel's son, Danny. We see that Bishop is not so dead, and he comes to the rescue. He ends up killing the girl, and it kind of goes into this whole conversation between Gabriel and the android Bishop about how there was supposed to be this protocol about how he could not kill humans, and he says it was some kind of a surge of sudden impulse. We do find out that the double agent all along was another android, and we find out that this one is a freelance android. She is free thinking. She is not tied to any corporation, but she is working for the Weyland Corporation, trying to, help them complete this, what the reason why they want this, xenomorph specimen. They do go into this this story about how, this whole, reason why the Weyland Corporation wants this dealings with the xenomorph has to do with Gabriel and his first encounters with the xenomorphs all the way back in the day, and it has to do mainly with Prometheus, and they talk about how ever since man has been, not just man, but ever since anybody has been searching the stars, eventually there is a force that comes along to purge the universe, to make sure that their disease and trash and everything doesn't just spread throughout the galaxy. And they show here it's the the xenomorph Queen Mother, I don't think we've got a name on her, but they basically blame Danny for all this. We do see that the Weyland official kind of chimes in and tells them, hey, if you bring us the specimen, everything will be forgiven, blah blah blah. Gabriel he decides not to take the transition from Weyland, and kind of says F you. The Weyland Corporation told him that they were going to take the shuttle offline, which they do. Gabriel was kind of MacGyvered, ready to deal with them taking off the shuttle offline, and as shown on the cover, he goes on the outside trying to separate the escape pod from the main shuttle, which he officially does. And at the very last second, we see that the Alpha Bull is on the hull and has managed to, fallen through from the Epsilon space station. Here's a quick, brief little battle where, like I had mentioned, Gabriel does detach and allow Bishop and Danny to escape. Bishop is supposed to be cutting the specimen out of Danny to save Danny's life. In the process, at the very last moment, Gabriel makes the ultimate sacrifice to save his son, and Bishop to make sure that they make it planet-sized. He does end up keeping the bull occupied, and they end up, going to their deaths. He says that the last moments that he saw was this photograph of his wife and his kids before things had moved on. It was the happiest moment of his life. They do show that Bishop is able to extract the specimen out of Danny and keep him alive. Looks like the specimen had died, and I don't know what it's supposed to symbolize, but they do show that this cat was watching the kind of whole situation, so it might be leading to maybe the cat is going to get infected type thing by the xenomorph that they think is dead. They do show us a cover of issue number 7 that is coming, but this was the end of the first arc. Very good issue. Sucks that Gabriel didn't make it, but that's how you roll the dice. Alright, so next up we got DC Black Label book number 3, Batman Reptilian. Got some Garth Ennis and some Liam Sharp. Really good issue, actually. The art, a lot of this book was in daylight, so it was a lot easier to see the amazing art that was in it. The dark previous issues it was kind of hard to see, more led up to your imagination type thing. Batman is still on this investigation. He's trying to track down this new killer who is after this certain pheromone that he has like tracked down and linked to certain villains that has the same pheromone. The last 2 remaining happen to be the Joker and Killer Croc, are the last 2 like kind of suspects and witnesses that Batman needs to track down and not only protect but make sure that they're not the killer themselves. The killer has already tracked down a slew of other villains like Deadshot and the Penguin, and they kind of show here on the very first page, but he's already taken out like 15, 16 other villains, and some of them he just took nibbles of, like Hugo Strange, but it just happened to be a nibble of the neck, So Batman is in pursuit, and as he's in pursuit, of course, Joker's got to be the Joker, and he ends up taking a whole bunch of people hostage, like 26 people hostage, in this kind of like a bird sanctuary, kind of like a place that they show here. They do show that Batman is working with the police, trying to make this a stealthy, because the snipers are having problems like locating everybody and getting good shots on the bad guys type situation. Batman explains that he needs to do this stealthy, and he doesn't, and he employs, we saw from like the first and second issue that Batman has been using this guy to track down Joker, and of course he's one of Joker's henchmen. He gets this henchman to betray the other henchman to kind of, do it so Batman can get an opening to sneak into the, sanctuary without, harming any of the hostages. Batman does so, and of course the Joker ends up taking off. Batman tells the henchman in text form that he will be using him again. Batman takes after the Joker, and they have this whole scene where he's like, "Come on, man, Joker, you're just like wasting my time. I know it's not you. Just let me help you and protect you, and let's move on so I can find this killer." Joker is not for that. He is like still kind of being Joker and crazy, and explains that the killer might even be there and stuff, and Joker is still trying to take out the Batman, but at the same time Batman gets a sense that he is afraid, and Joker ends up taking off. In the process he does run into the killer. Batman tries to get there in time, but Joker had a good head start, and by the time he shows up, it doesn't look like Joker is in too good of a shape, because they show right here, and it is very abstract, and they show him on a stretcher, and he is all bandaged up, like the killer had quite the nibble on the Joker. So and the Joker does not look like he had a good time. There is this one little caption at the bottom that is worthy of note, but Batman kind of leans over to Joker as he is on the stretcher, and he says, "Hey, how you like my sense of humor now, buddy?" as they're wheeling Joker off. And that was the third issue, and so next issue basically is Batman trying to track down Killer Croc to see if he has any ties to this new Reptilian killer. Last but not least, but Boom Studios, we have Something is Killing the Children, number 19, and man, what a issue. We are starting off, and this is Aaron. Basically, this is the origin to Erica Slaughter. So Aaron is also very young. He is one of the few black masks that are still active in the House of Slaughter, and we see here some white masks are hassling him and basically beating the crap out of him while he's in his bed. Aaron has not come into his own yet, but even at the same time, he still fights them off. He doesn't take it like a punk. He still, he's able to grab a knife at one moment, and basically he is saved by, and I think her name is Jessica, that comes in, and she basically tells him that he needs to nut up, and also kind of inform. He asks about Erica, and he gets informed that she is still going through her trial. That is kind of up to her whether she survives. We jump off into the barn where Erica is going through her trial with her friend, the Octo Demon monster thing, whatever. But this is a trial where it is all through her mind, and Erica is reliving the moments that where her family, her mom and dad, and her family were killed off by said monster. At first, she is exactly reliving those moments in the exact form or fashion, and she starts to realize that this is just basically a replay. And she starts reflecting on certain key moments, and like as she is reflecting on these moments, she's starting to realize what the test is. As she gets to this point, she starts literally like remembering certain things that people in the House of Slaughter had told her, like Jessica, Aaron, that this was going to be, like a test of wits, that it was going to be in her mind, it's up to her kind of thing. After realizing this, the whole kind of mind thing disappears, and we actually get to see what, Octo in this kind of dream, scenario, what he really looks like and stuff. And at this moment, Erica just isn't, scared of him anymore, and realizes what she needs to do. She needs to reenact the scene as it plays out, but just minus the fear. The monster was able to use the fear and, feed off of it. Without that fear, it's not really anything. It was kind of like that golden, glowy octopus look. It's not really scary anymore. She literally goes back to what she was supposed to be doing, because at one point there is a part where she starts trying to change the dream and realizes she really can't. So she does go back and like literally in that moment like lays down right as the monster was about to eat her face, and that's when Jessica comes in and saves her, where she does end up stabbing the eye, and she also saves herself. But she literally has to replay that moment. But it's also the moment where she, in real life, where she took that power for herself. Where she wasn't a victim. At this one, we kind of see that the we're gonna just call him Octo, but Octo, the monster, and Erica, both kind of become one, and are not enemies anymore, but are kind of allies. That this is now like her familiar type of thing. They basically wake up, find out that the House of Slaughter have left her in the barn alone, thinking that she was going to be killed by the monster because it was such a crazy, like high level monster. And it's basically her and the Octo, like, hey, what's next? We passed this test kind of thing, so we're about to find out what they have next in store for Erica Slaughter. Really good issue, man. I'm really looking forward to it. But that's everything I got for you. I got one more review coming. I think I have one more single review coming up. But be on the lookout. Like, comment, subscribe. Have you read any of these? Your thoughts, all that good stuff. All right, guys. I'll be back in a little bit.